Hello.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to another episode of the Design and Prosper podcast. So today we're talking about what to do if a client doesn't like what you've created. Bum, bum, bum.
Yes. It happens.
Oh no.
Yeah.
They don't like it.
I know. And we think that's not going to happen. It happens. It happens. Yeah.
Like even if they want to make a change to the design you presented, it's just all sorts of emotions come flooding up to the surface, don't they? Your ego takes a hit. How could I not crack it? What's going on here? But don't worry, all is not lost. There's definitely things that you can do. It's not the end of the world.
No, it's not. We've learnt that later in our career, actually, that it isn't the end of the world. And it just comes with experience. So it isn't an age thing, it's an experience thing. It's how many times you've had clients want changes or how many times you've had clients want to go off in a different direction that hasn't been briefed. And then you start to get used to different ways of dealing with it. But we've got some strategies for you for right now to save you the heartache, to save you feeling really bruised and broken when it does happen, because our ego, like Chris just said, does take a hit, and it is really sad. You get really sad and like, why? I've put so much heart, soul and blood, sweat and tears into this, and I think it's perfect for you. Why can't you see it? And it really does crush us a little bit, soul crushing. But let's not take it personally. Let's rise above it and work through it.
Yeah, because there's always a lesson. There's always an opportunity in every situation that happens.
Yep.
Sometimes our self-esteem does feel a bit bruised, and also we're wondering why they're not trusting us, why they're not fully believing in our aesthetic or our design solution or our concept or whatever it might be. We talk a lot about getting out ahead of it on this podcast, like putting things in place to prevent this sort of thing from happening. But this podcast isn't really about that. We're going to be talking about what to do. It's already happened.
Yes, that's right, Chris. We're not talking about prevention today. Today, we are talking about when your little heart is broken. It's already happened. Let's just have some strategies around, okay, communication. How do we do this? How do we deal with our beautiful client? And how do we correct it or accept it? So,
yeah, that's it. It's one of those two things, isn't it? Correct it or accept it. Because there's a whole design business ecosystem at play here. And we will dedicate more episodes to that in the future about all the systems and things that you need in place to help stop this sort of stuff from happening. But yeah, today, what can we do? Your little heart's broken. What can we do?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, let's communicate with our gorgeous client. Let's ask some questions. So find out exactly what's driving their decision or the desire for change. It may be that something has gone wrong, but it may not be that something's gone wrong. It may be just their ability or inability to understand the direction that you've gone in, so that we may need to give them a little bit more access into that. And like we've talked about, there's a whole design ecosystem that Chris and I share through the academy, where we have systems and procedures to really get out ahead of these things. And things like that would be addressed in those systems and procedures. However, when that's not existing, this is when you can do it as a little bit of a reverse engineering. So you can take a deep dive at this stage and ask those questions. So has there been a change in direction with their business? Has something happened in between briefing you and this point? So find out exactly what's going on for them, because there could have been something that's happened that they weren't anticipating with regard to their business. Like a pandemic could have happened. And so they've really had to readdress what they're doing, and the goalposts had to shift in order for them to pivot and to really get ahead of what's happening for them in their environment. So it really is important to ask questions first and just really work out what exactly it is that's going to make them happy with this beautiful solution that you have created. What can you do to manage that?
Because it might be just a little thing. They might have already said a blanket, no, I'm not accepting this, or no, I don't like this. But it might actually be something quite small that's affecting their opinion about this whole piece. So it could be a color shift, or it could be an image swap out, or it could be a slight change in direction with typography. It might be something smaller than you think. So let's find out what could fix this project in their eyes. It might be something you can do quite easily. It might not be, however. So this is the conversation that we need to start having.
Yeah, absolutely. What would this look like if it was successful? That's a great question that Chris and I like to ask. What do you believe it would look like to be a success? And then that feedback will give you some really insightful clues as to what's really going on for them and what's really going on for them with this particular design solution. So, yeah, ask questions, communicate. Don't be afraid to ask. It's okay. Yeah.
Because I think a lot of designers might just dig their heels in and be a bit stubborn about it. No, this is the solution I've created and you just have to like it or lump it. Or they just get all upset and get themselves into an upset frenzy because the client doesn't like it. But there's just a conversation that needs to unfold here. It doesn't have to be a serious thing, or it doesn't have to be a big emotionally draining thing.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's the thing. Earlier in my career, I took a lot of things personally because I put so much into the work that I was creating for my beautiful clients. And then when they would come back and wouldn't like something, I honestly, there was probably a little bit of arrogance there, perhaps, but I honestly and genuinely would be shocked that they didn't like it. I'd be like, really? What do you mean? And then having conversations, it's like Chris just said, it's one tiny thing that they didn't like. They didn't like that green because it was their high school color of their uniform or whatever. They don't like that typeface because somebody else has been using that typeface, or they don't want it to be cursive. They need it to be something else. It might be a slight little shift, but your initial reaction is, really? You don't like it? What? So I think we have to sort of take ourselves out of it, take that connection, that emotional connection that we have as creators to the work, because we can be objective. We've proven that as graphic designers. That's one of our secret sources, is to be able to be objective about a project and not subjective, not bring our personal viewpoint. But the actual process of creating a beautiful piece of work becomes personal. We put ourselves in there. So even though we're being objective with our conceptual pathway, we are personally creating this. And so we have to really make that distinction that I can't take this personally. This is about this project and what's going to elevate it for this client and what's going to make them really happy and love the work that we've done.
Yeah. Gosh, we put our heart and soul into things, don't we?
We do. Yeah.
So another thing that can pop up a lot with designers is they might not have clearly articulated the rationale behind the concept. So you may think you have, but take a good look at what you've presented, how you've talked through the concept, how you've written it out for the client to understand. Maybe there's some gaps in there that are stuck in your brain, essentially, about why you've chosen certain elements. There should be a reason why behind every single element in your design solution. So if you start to unpack that and communicate that to the client, then they're going to have much more of an understanding and a reason for why. They're going to understand the connection back to the brief. They're going to understand exactly why you've chosen certain elements in the design. And so the rationale is so important.
Yes, absolutely. It is fundamental to bridging the gap between the design solution and the client's understanding of your intention behind the design solution. So it's really important to refer to it when you're presenting, to own it, to use it as a really powerful tool, the powerful tool that it is, give it the credit that it has. And if there are any gaps, then go back to your process, your early process of your research and hunting and gathering, and really seek out and articulate the direction that you took and why you took it, because it's all there. The evidence is all there. So you just have to maybe reverse engineer and go back. Look at the rationale. Where are the gaps? I know I've done the work. There it is. I'll add that to it. And hopefully that then will bridge that gap for the client.
Yeah, perhaps you've just got a bit more explaining to do. You might think it was clear, but it may just not have been quite clear enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so another issue that can come up is some personality types, and we've all met these people before, they like to have a little say, or sometimes a big say, and they're going to make a change no matter what. They're just going to do it. It's part of their empowerment. They feel like they're not contributing or having valid input into the project if they don't make that little change. So with some client personality types, you may need to accept that there might be a little change. And it's your job as the designer to really guide them to make those changes for the best benefit of the project possible.
Absolutely. And the thing is, with those clients, once you get to know them, a great thing to do with those clients is to have a little bit of collaboration just towards that end phase, so it doesn't feel like a change, more like an elevation to the design. Because sometimes the clients can be really right. They intimately know their product, they intimately know their service, and that little tweak, if we can just leave our ego aside for a bit, that little tweak actually does elevate. And that's happened before too, when we get some feedback and for us, and we've gone, wow, that has taken it to the next level. That insight has really benefited the design. So accepting that and going with it and feeling really excited about it. But again, coming back to those clients who need, their personality type needs to contribute, they need to sort of justify their existence with the whole process by having had some input, and they want to take ownership of it. So what not to do is to run the gauntlet and put something in that you think the client will hate, and so that they can actually pull it out, because that can backfire on you. They used to do it in the advertising industry all the time. It was a strategy back in the day. I think they called it where's the elephant? Where's the elephant in the we used to have big boards. Where's the elephant? And you'd be like, what elephant? And they'd say, we need to have something in there for this particular client to take out. They'll want to take something out. What can they take out? What aren't you precious about? And it was like, wow, this is really fascinating. But that's way too risky for my personality type, because if I put an elephant in there and they loved the elephant, I'd be shattered. I'd be so shattered. So be careful with that one. Don't do that.
It really is about getting in there with the collaborative process earlier on with these clients who are a bit particular, because the collaboration will help them take ownership. And that's what we want. We want them to take ownership of the design process as soon as possible, so it becomes truly theirs. There's always going to be some particular clients who will want to have a little tweak or a change. And even if you've been spot on, you have been spot on with the design, you're on brief, it's just totally on target with what they want to achieve, they will want to change it, even if you feel like you nailed it. So we can bend and sway a little bit. So this is a question for you. Will you make the changes even if you don't believe in it? Should you do that? Should we be doing that?
That's a big question, and it's the question that you have to answer and feel really, really good about, whatever comes from that.
So what do you do if the changes they're asking for, in your heart, are going to ruin the design? They're going to ruin the design direction. You've done all the steps that we've said before. You've asked them about it. You've talked to them about it. You've shown them the rationale behind it. You've shown them the benefit of going with your approach, but they've got their set opinion and that's it. What do you do? Well, this is tough, but sometimes it's easier to go with the path of least resistance. Sometimes it's just easier to make the change, get final payment, hand over the files, and just move on. Tuck that little baby away in a dark corner of your archive somewhere.
And that, my friend, is called acceptance. And we just allow that path of least resistance, and we just let go. And honestly, I wish somebody had shared that with me very early in my design career. There are going to be design battles, that we cannot win. And really, it is not great for your soul. You are already feeling bruised and crushed. It's easier to let it go, accept that this is what the client wants, and they, after all, are paying you for this. Allow that to happen. Deliver it with exceptional service. So elevate your service, elevate everything, deliver it, hand it over. And if you feel like this is going to be on repeat, then this is a client that you absolutely offboard. That's a client you say bye-bye to and say, okay, I can't help. I know, like Chris was saying, I know I delivered the most beautiful, best solution that I could for you. And it feels like now it's diluted, or the integrity of the concept has been completely diluted. So it's best that you just hand it over and move on.
Yeah. So you can say, okay, we're going to cancel this project from my perspective. Here's another designer, or, you need to go and source another designer, or you can make the changes depending on how emotional you feel about it. But we've definitely done that. We have definitely in our careers have made the changes. We've, just moved through it, moved on, and gotten paid for the project, gotten paid for the work that we've done, and just let it go. Because there's a quote out there that's been floating around for years and years, which I love. And I reference it a lot in my life. Would you rather be right or would you rather be happy?
Yes, I love that. Yes. Happy, please.
Happy.
Yeah,
Yep.
I want to be happy. Yeah. And like I said, I wish that I had had the courage to accept and let it go early in my career. But I think I was just so, I keep saying arrogant, but it's not so much arrogance as just real passion around the solutions that we were creating. And it was just incomprehensible that it wasn't right. And so there you go. It might be a little bit of arrogance. But I wish I had have let go with ease a lot earlier in my career and accepted. And so, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. But we have this beautiful business ecosystem with an amazing rationale that we have had the pleasure of a lot of full body yeses, acceptance to our design solutions, because we've covered off all the T's, dotted all the I's, made sure the language is that the client really respects and understands and really feels comfortable with and familiar with. So that acceptance of our work really does happen more often than not. So it's a rarity now that we sort of have that really crushed feeling of, oh no, you want to change it. So that was early in our careers.
Yeah. When you've got that brief, when you've got that signed off on, when you've got the other processes that we have on the way to getting the logo approved, it's rare that this sort of thing is going to take place.
Yes.
But we acknowledge that it definitely has happened to us. And we have got beautiful, beautiful concepts that had never seen the light of day. There's lots and lots of layers here, but essentially, don't take it personally. Sometimes changes are going to be an actual benefit to the project, and we've definitely had that, where it's elevated and enhanced a project. Yes. Our ego gets in the way a little bit at first, so it's like, oh, why didn't I think of that? But once you move past that, it's like, this is exciting. This is actually a really exciting change. Thank you for suggesting it. Let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah. And those clients become really beautiful long-term clients a lot of the time because they're collaborators. Yeah. And it's like you want to work with them. You want to hear their opinion. And it's almost like you want them to be involved in that really juicy first part of the process so that you can get their gold and make sure that the design solution is optimal at the end of the day. So, there can be win-wins with this.
Yeah. All right. I think that wraps it up. We really want you to not take things personally, move through it as best you can, follow the steps that we said, reach out. And it's happened to everybody. It's absolutely happened to everybody. So you're not alone if it's happening to you. There are things you can do to make this process better and get your clients to love, trust, and respect you from the get-go.
Yes, that's what we're after, that full body yes to our gorgeous creations. So that is possible.
Yeah. All right. Good luck with it. Bye.
Bye. Bye.